subject hydrology, chapter evaporation, topic basic evapotranspiration concept. Now students, we have already discussed what is evaporation, how evaporation is taking place, what is the concept behind the process of evaporation, right? We also have discussed about the various empirical methods, evaporimeters, and the analytical methods also we have discussed in a you can say short bit, right? Now let us discuss about this term that is known as the evapotranspiration. Now what is this evapotranspiration? Let me tell you that evapotranspiration is made up of two words, right? That is evaporation plus transpiration. Evaporation and plus transpiration. Transpiration. So if you combine these two words, you get evapotranspiration, right? Evaporation you have understood. What is evaporation? And the transpiration concept, so let me make you understand. The students who had biology also in their class 12 PCMB, physics, chemistry, math, biology, they must be knowing about transpiration, right? Now, if you did not have your biology in your class 12, now let me make you understand what transpiration is. Now, evaporation you have understood. Now, let me give an example. Let us say this is your land, right? On land, we have, let us say, one tree is also there, right? Another tree is there, right? Another tree is there. Some grass is also there, some plants are also there, right? So evaporation will be taking place from the water bodies, right? Or it can also be taking place if it is a soil, it has some moisture, some evaporation will be taking place. But transpiration, it takes place by plants. It is related with plants or trees. Now what is happening is that during daytime when the process of photosynthesis is taking place, photosynthesis means in the presence of sunlight, the plants make their food, right? That is photosynthesis, right? So when the process of photosynthesis takes place, the cells of the plants, the cells on the leaves and the stems of the plant, they get widened. So what is happening is that the plants, they are taking moisture from underwater, from underground, they are taking moisture. So this moisture, it comes to the leaves, which helps in the photosynthesis, and subsequently this moisture, it leaves the plants. And this phenomena is known as transpiration. So evaporation was connected with the water bodies and the normal evaporation that we know, right? But transpiration is generally connected with plants or trees. Clear? Now this is what the transpiration is, right? Now the difference between transpiration and evaporation, one I have already told you. The second difference would be the transpiration, most of the transpiration, it takes place during daytime hours only. Because during daytime hours only, due to the presence of sunlight, photosynthesis is taking place in the plants, right? During night time it is not taking place. In some plants it is taking place, but in most of the plant it is not taking place during night times, right? So transpiration is more or less a daytime process. But as far as the evaporation is concerned, evaporation can happen in daytime also, in night time also, it can happen. Although the rate will be different for evaporation during day and night time, but it will be happening in both the days and night time also, right? Or, as far as the transpiration is concerned, is more of a daytime process. Clear? Now, when you if you combine these two, you get the word evapotranspiration, right? Now, if you study evapotranspiration, you come across two important terms. First one is the potential evapotranspiration, PET. P for potential evapotranspiration, and second one is AET. A for actual evapotranspiration. Potential evapotranspiration, actual evapotranspiration. So potential evapotranspiration is the maximum transpiration that can take place at a particular time, right? Where that the maximum transpiration that can take place. And actual evapotranspiration, it actually depends upon a lot of parameters. How much moisture is there? If suppose that the sun rays were such that they could easily transpire, let us say 12 mm of water from soil through plants, but the available moisture content was not 12 mm, it was just 5 mm. So it will not be able to, you can say, transpire 12 mm of water. It will be just able to transpire 5 mm of water. So this 5 mm of water is the actual evapotranspiration which is actually taking place, and potential is the maximum that can take place. Clear? Now, to make you understand much about the potential evapotranspiration, actual evapotranspiration, let me talk about the field capacity, the available moisture content, and the permanent building point. Although you will be discussing these things in detail in irrigation engineering, but let me tell you here also about these three terms, right? So let me make you a diagram. You will never forget about the permanent building point, the field capacity, and the available moisture content, right? So first of all, let us discuss the field capacity. Let me draw one diagram. You will easily understand it. So let us say this is our plant or tree, right? This is a tree. Clear? This is the ground surface, and these are the roots of the trees, right? These are the roots of the trees. This is the ground surface, ground level. Clear? Now, this is the field capacity. That is the maximum, you can say. This is the groundwater table. That is the groundwater table, right? The maximum water that can be absorbed by soil is the field capacity. This is field capacity. The maximum water that a soil can carry is the field capacity. Clear? Now, field capacity also has some formulae based on the bulk density and the weight density. Also, I am not going in detail in that you will be studying in irrigation engineering. But the maximum moisture content is the field capacity. You also have some permanent wilting point also. So one permanent wilting point is also there. Permanent wilting point means that, you know that how this the roots of the plant, they get water. So the roots of the plant, they suck water from the soil pores, right? Now, if you just keep taking out water, the plants will just keep taking out water. There will be some level that the plants will not be able to suck water. There will be some level of water. That level is the permanent wilting point. It means that only this water is available for plants. Only this much of water. If the water level which reach up to here, they will not be able to collect that water. Some water still be there, but that is the hygroscopic water, that is of no use for plants, right? So plants can only absorb water which is between voids. Clear? Now, only this much of water is available to plants, so this is known as the available moisture content. Available moisture content. AMC, available moisture content. Now, when the soil is at the field capacity, it means has the maximum, you can say, water content, then we will see potential evapotranspiration. But when the soil is not at the field capacity, it is somewhere here, or the available moisture is somewhere here or somewhere here, at that time we will observe the actual evapotranspiration. Clear? Now, there is also a ratio, that actual evapotranspiration divided by potential evapotranspiration ratio. This question has been asked in examinations, right? That actual evapotranspiration upon potential evapotranspiration will be equal to 1 when your soil is at the field capacity. When it has the maximum, you can say, water content, then the potential evapotranspiration, the maximum it can transpire, and actual, that will be equal to the maximum only, right? That will be equal to 1. And your actual evapotranspiration divided by the potential evapotranspiration will be equal to 0 when the water content is at the permanent wilting point. Permanent wilting, because at that time the soil is not able, the roots of the soil is not, the roots of the plants are not able to absorb or suck out water from the pores. If they are not able to suck out water, they will not be able to transpire water, right? The transpiration will not take place. If transpiration will not take place, actual evapotranspiration will be 0. Obviously, potential will be there. Potential has is constant for particular types of soil at a particular area, depending on various atmospheric conditions, right? But actual will change. Clear? So actual will be 0 at the permanent wilting point. So it is 0 at the permanent wilting point, and it is 1 at the field capacity. Simple. Clear? Now, when we study these things, the actual evapotranspiration, potential evapotranspiration, we also have a term that is known as the aridity index. Aridity index. So aridity index AI. it is actually equal to potential evapotranspiration minus actual evapotranspiration divided by potential evapotranspiration into 100. That is the aridity index. This question has also been asked in examinations. Aridity index is a term, right? I'm not going in detail what aridity index means. That will be you'll be discussing this in detail in irrigation engineering. But as far as the hydrology is concerned, only the formula is important. Clear? That is potential minus actual divided by potential into 100 is the aridity index. Clear? So students, I hope that you have understood the basic concept of evapotranspiration. Now let us move to the next topic, in which I will be telling you about the methods of the evapotranspiration measurement. Right? How to measure evapotranspiration. And one more thing before ending this topic, let me tell you that in the previous topic we discussed about the evaporation, right? Now, if you want to minimize a lake evaporation or a water body evaporation, if you want to minimize it, what do you have to do? We have three methods. The first method is we can reduce the surface area of water body. Reduce surface area. Reduce surface area. Right? Clear? Because the more the surface area, the more surface will be exposed to sunlight, right? Or more surface will be exposed to the normal air pressure, and more evaporation will be there. If surface area is less, if it is a deep lake, then the evaporation will be less in case of summer. I already told you, right? Second is that we have mechanical films also. Mechanical films are also there, right? Some polypropylene and some PVC films are also there, but they are very costly. So mechanical films method, it is basically, you can say, more, you can say, suitable for if it is a small water body, not a big water body, otherwise it will be very costly, right? A third thing is a chemical method. This is usually adopted, and this question has been asked, chemical method. In chemical method, what we do is that on the water body we apply, or you can say we spread a chemical known as a cetyl alcohol. Cetyl alcohol, and this question has been asked. The cetyl alcohol is spread on a water body to reduce evaporation, right? So it is used for the reduction of evaporation. So these are three methods by which you can reduce the evaporation of a water body. Okay, so I hope you have understood about the basic evaporation concept. Now let's move to the next topic. In the next topic, we will be discussing about the methods of determination of evapotranspiration. We have lysimeters, we have some empirical equation also, we have Branly-Criddle formula also that you will be studying in your irrigation also that you will be studying, right? So let's move to the next topic and understand other concepts. Thank you.